Guys, it's Debbie Potts, and I'm recording this on kind of the first real full week of January 2025. Last week was New Year's, and everyone's just kind of getting back into the groove with work and life and kids. And I want to go over some articles I've been working on and creating 30-day challenges. My goal is to help myself and to help you along the way how to get stronger and leaner and faster as we age. Don't give in to, I'm getting older, I'm going to get slower and fatter and have problems. No, I'm trying to break that cycle and change how we approach life, nutrition, exercise, lifestyle habits as we age. So we know a lot. Hopefully, you're following Dr. Gabrielle Lyon and all these different people in the carnivore space that we really have to focus on protein as we age. Dr. Stacy Sims talks about this as well. She's definitely not carnivore. She's plant-based. And she, as well as Gabrielle Lyon and other leaders in our industry helping us improve the aging process, are really sharing the information on how to avoid sarcopenia, the loss of muscle as we age. Now, I posted a video today on my social that might have been hanging out with your family over the holidays. Have you noticed changes in how they're aging? And does that inspire, motivate you, and really challenge you to not look like them? I want to improve my brain health, my gut health, my muscles, metabolic health in general as I age. So let's dive in to how we can avoid muscle loss. I'm talking a lot about mitochondria, overall metabolic health at a cellular level. We can look up some articles on protein quality and really looking at the leucine threshold. So there's some articles you can dive deep on protein source and muscle health in older adults. Looking at meta-analysis is what I try to do. And protein considerations for optimizing skeletal mass in young and older adults. What is nutrient density? Looking at nutrient density, getting all the micronutrients you need from your food and figuring that out is really helpful to look at proper food intake, but proper digestion and absorption. A lot of people can benefit from digestive enzyme support. Maybe you can use essential oils, you can use butters. There's different solutions if you're not a supplement person. So we can go into all these different articles. I found this good link, optimizingnutrition.com, and looking at really personalization when we go into this research. I work on personalizing programs for clients because we need to figure out what do you need to do as a unique individual and not just looking at this one size fits all approach. Now, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon has great resources on her website. A big question, pulled up this article, collagen. People think that taking collagen peptides is the same thing as getting their protein from amino acids. Collagen peptides don't count. So I'll put this link in the show notes as well. Collagen peptides. Remember, collagen is good for your skin, your nails, your joints, your hair. That's why I actually have right here, my BioSil is a collagen generator for hair, skin, nails, activating beautifying ability to generate and protect your own collagen, improving hair, skin, nails, and joints, radiate the self-confidence and glow you can see, feel, and show. But that is a supplement, little tiny little capsule I take in the morning and at night, one capsule 2 times daily, and has a choline in it as main biosil generator. So point is, to improve our aging process, we want to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. We don't count collagen in that. And so I put together some articles I had saved in this program called Evernote, and I was getting rid of Evernote. So I was like, I got to save this information. So I put it into a summary form, and let's dive in. How can you avoid muscle loss as you age? So Dr. Gabrielle Lyon emphasizes the critical role of protein, really animal protein in muscle health and overall longevity. Key points you'll hear her talk about. Muscle is an organ of longevity. Muscle plays a foundational role in metabolism, and I'm all about metabolism as I do Pinoy metabolism testing, really figuring this out. When people say, oh, my metabolism's getting slower as I age, I can't eat as much, I get fatter, a lot easier, it's hard to keep the weight off. Well, muscle, people. We need to build muscle. And it serves as a major site for glucose disposal and fatty acid oxidation, both crucial for metabolic health. So, muscles, organ of longevity, metabolic health, mitochondria, really focus on getting that protein in. Because I like Dr. Gabrielle's her analogy that your muscles are suitcases. So if you want to go on a trip, say to Europe, I want to take that big, huge suitcase size. I can't fit everything, all my clothes in to go to Europe for 2 weeks in a carry-on suitcase. I need a bigger space to pack everything. That means the more muscle I have, the more glucose disposal site I can shove more glucose into those muscles. And then she talks a lot about animal versus plant proteins. And if you search on my website, I've done a bunch of website blogs on here. Debbie Potts, look up plant versus animal protein, something like that. You can find some charts. Now, I was plant-based for a long time, but I did the calculations on plant versus animal protein, and really, it's challenging. I started to dive into this. Well, this article is a couple years old, but I was looking at these charts everyone shares of 30 grams of protein, and all the charts would say this has 30 grams of protein, but it's not equal. So that led me down this rabbit hole that 30 grams of protein to get from black beans, kidney beans, lentils, quinoa, peanut butter. You have to get so many servings, you want to vomit trying to fit all that in. So you really might want to look at supplementing with perfect aminos or Kion aminos if you're not switching to animal-based diet. So before I go back to my blog, here animal-based foods that have high leucine content, and we'll get back to the leucine threshold, but beef, chicken breast, turkey, fish is tuna, salmon, whey protein, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, eggs. You want to get the whole eggs, but whole eggs have the leucine major part of its egg whites, but then the nutrition in the egg yolk, the choline, vitamin A, D, E, and K are fat soluble vitamins, but getting all that nutrients in a full egg is pretty powerful. So what are the essential amino acids needed for protein synthesis? So 9 essential amino acids that are required for protein synthesis in the body. These essential amino acids cannot be produced by the body, must be attained through the diet. So the 9 amino acids, quiz later, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine. So notice they're all kind of end similar. 9 phenylalanine, thronine, I can't even say it, tryptophan and valine. So these essential amino acids play vital roles in various physiological processes, including the main focus today, muscle protein synthesis, as well as tissue repair, hormone production, and enzyme synthesis. It is important to consume a balanced diet that includes sources of complete protein containing all 9 essential amino acids to support overall health and optimal protein synthesis. So animal protein sources as meat, fish, eggs, and dairy products. Not everyone can do dairy, But if you can, I do cottage cheese with my SIBO Super Gut yogurt from Dr. William Davis. I'll do that in the morning with some nuts, some nut-ola granola thing we make with coconut oil. So if you're not able to do nuts and seeds, if your gut's really irritated, we need to do more of a carnivore food elimination diet and heal your gut and then reintroduce foods. Plant-based protein is quinoa, soy products as tofu tempeh are complete protein, but no, however, this article said most plant-based protein may be incomplete and can be combined to ensure sufficient intake of all these amino acids. So Dr. Gabrielle talks about how to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Lifting weights, muscle is a protein of longevity. Lifting weights is essential for muscle health. Focusing on muscle protein synthesis, muscle growth relies on hormones. In youth, aging increases resistance to these hormones that are necessary to work on exercise and diet to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. It says exercise or diet, but I have heard you need to do both to get the best results. The right protein intake at the right times, they found, is crucial for muscle stimulation. Some people, I've heard differences. It might not have to be spread out 3 meals a day or 3 different doses. And then the big part of it is anabolic resistance. Aging leads to a higher protein need to stimulate mTOR due to reduced hormone levels. Big part of what we're talking about for us females. Leucine is vital for mTOR signaling. Healthier muscle correlates with a healthier life. Muscle plays a key role in the glucose disposal and fat oxidation. As we get older, we have increased protein needs and we're more anabolically resistant. And anabolic resistance and muscle loss can begin in our 30s due to inactivity. But we're the active people usually here. So older adults need 40 to 50 grams of protein per meal to maintain muscle turnover. Now, I was just with my father-in-law 2 weeks ago. I was with my mother. My father-in-law is 91. My mom is 83. They are not eating 40 to 50 grams of protein per meal, and they can't eat that much. So this is what I think we need to supplement when we're not getting enough. So taking a good grass-fed whey protein shake is what I was just talking to my father-in-law about. So we want to get rid of this anabolic resistance. We can't get rid of it, but how can we overcome it? So the quality of protein is key. And note that animal proteins are more effective for signaling mTOR building than plant-based proteins, which are low in leucine. So you can go into the rest of this, but this was notes I did a few years ago. Protein on rest days. You even want to make sure you have even more protein than on your exercise days, because that's when you're recovering and repairing. And muscle protein synthesis is less stimulated. Aim for 1 to 6 grams of protein per kilogram, at least 30 grams of protein 3 times a day, which still is not enough, right? We need at least 100 grams. So you can read the rest of it. Those notes from podcasts that she did with Gabrielle Lyon, with my friend Mike Butzel. And then Dr. Rhonda Patrick had a protein timing, muscle protein, and all that. So here's what I did with that, because nowadays I just put those interviews into my friend assistant ChatGPT and come up with this format looking at the role of leucine. Okay, so with that, we know we need essential amino acids. We have abundance of branched-chain amino acids, leucine, but we need to get the right dose to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. What is the role of leucine? Leucine, the amino acid, plays a pivotal role to stimulate mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin, which is critical for muscle protein synthesis, we'll call MPS. To effectively activate MPS, this is why I did the math in a different blog 2.5 grams of leucine within the essential amino acid profile is required. This translates to 30 grams of protein per meal, but as I've heard Gabrielle and Stacy say, that for women, that's not enough. We need a lot more, say 40, 50 grams, to do the same thing when we're younger that 20, 30 grams of protein did. So when it says 30, we need to think 40 to 50 grams when we are getting older, as I am, and trying to stay young at the same time. So protein quality and quantity does matter. And this is where I get frustrated with the images of what is equal to 30 grams, like this one I put in here. Say chickpea or chicken is 250 grams to what does that say? 250 grams, but you get 25 grams of protein. Greek yogurt, boiled eggs. You have to have 5 eggs, which would a lot of people would get nauseated. Spinach, that's kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to eat that much spinach. And then you get the anti-nutrients. Same with almonds, corn mince. I don't even know what that is. So it must be British. Sorry. Salmon is a great source. So we want to look at nutrient density as well as the quality of protein. So tuna, you want to make sure you're not eating out of tin cans because I've had clients with heavy metal toxicity from having too much aluminum and then mercury in tuna, but aluminum from having everything wrapped in foil. Sirloin steak, a good ribeye, you can look at the nutrient density chart. So looking at your quality and quantity of protein is important. And then, of course, how you are digesting your food. So what you eat, when, why, where, but just as important is how. Chewing your food slowly, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest before you dive into that food. I was watching people eat. They were taking another bite before they actually finished what was in their mouth. So go to the Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig. We used to do the fork down method. Don't take another bite until you paused and chewed that food 20 times and swallowed it. It's awful habits that we get of rushing through our meals. So even if you hit this goal, you're probably not breaking it down and digesting it properly, especially if you're in sympathetic dominance, which is shutting off your digestion factors that happen when you're in parasympathetic state because of the connection of the vagal nerve. So go back to my video on the role of the vagal nerve and how much digestion is connected to the vagal nerve being activated. So another article, protein timing, essential amino acids, non-essential amino acids, the types of proteins. I took this seminar at my fitness convention. You can go into that, but that's not my point. Animal-based proteins, there's whey protein is complete protein from cow's milk, rapidly digested. Casein, a lot of people can't do. Its slower digestion comprises of 80% of cow's milk protein. But there's soy protein is complete protein, ideal for vegans and lactose intolerant. I don't look at the soy, the plant-based to get the right amount. So this isn't accurate. You have to combine it with some, I think it's rice and 3 different proteins that they'll put in a vegan protein to make it equivalent, but you'll need like 3 scoops or 4 scoops of it to make it equal to a grass-fed whey protein. There are other options of protein powders, which I heard are not totally equal to whey protein, is bone broth protein you can get from Equip. And then there's beef protein. So bone broth protein and there's beef protein. Now, timing your protein is a big conversation. So when you're eating your protein throughout the day, Dr. Lyon talks about morning, or rather, I like to call it your first meal and your last meal to be hitting that protein goal. And nutrient timing for muscle protein synthesis, exercise, and protein intake stimulate MPS. So really what I like to think about, keep it simple, is 40 to 50 grams of protein. Ideal grams of protein per day are the 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So if your goal comfortable weight is 150 pounds, you need to get 3 doses of 50 grams of protein. Minimum is 100 grams a day, especially as we age. I think we need to hit this. And then if you're aging and an athlete, as a lot of us here, we really want to focus on prioritizing that protein. So distributing protein intake evenly across meals is suggested. Incorporate high quality protein sources on your plate. You eat that first is suggested. Don't eat the other stuff on your plate. Just eat your meat first. Focus on post-workout protein consumption to maximize recovery. That's where I think amino acid supplement or having a shake is easier because I don't really feel like eating a meal for a couple hours after I work out. And then information again is at 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram is a little bit lower end. I think as we're aging in athletes, I like to do the 1 gram of protein per pound of body fat. So it depends, but I think that's kind of the lower end, and distribution. Spreading it evenly throughout the day is beneficial. Older adults benefit from higher protein intake in the morning and higher quality protein sources. Post-workout protein. This is from Rhonda Patrick's research on an article she had last year, but 4 to 6 hours post-workout does not impair strength gains as long as daily protein needs are met. So that was regarding the suggestion that we need to get protein in 30 minutes after we work out. I've heard that men, doesn't matter, just as long as you get it throughout the day. Women, Stacey Sims would say we need it after that workout, 30, 45 minutes. So that's another thing. So I went through all these fasted workouts. Does that impact protein? Do we need more protein? Fasted strength training is not harmful, provided protein calories are met later. Mitochondria adaptations, fasted exercise may enhance mitochondria adaptations, but performance may be compromised during prolonged workouts. So that is more regarding fasting. Anyways, these are summaries of articles and podcast show notes. So again, Dr. Gabrielle explains it best. Muscle plays a critical role in health, acting as the largest organ for glucose disposal and fat oxidation. Healthy muscle mass correlates with better quality life and survivability. Strength training and dietary adjustments, higher protein intake are essential to counter anabolic resistance and muscle loss with aging. Hormonal shifts in older adults demand dietary interventions for muscle protein synthesis. What are the requirements? Young adults need less protein due to the hormonal muscle growth support. They have more growth hormones and testosterone. Adults requiring 50 grams of high quality protein per meal for muscle maintenance. Optimal daily intake, divided up, figure out your total, divide up 3 to 4 meals, which is really hard. I tend to do 2 meals a day. So that's where I'm going into more the body health, perfect aminos, and having to supplement. They suggest for a 30-day challenge, taking 1 serving for every 50 pounds of body weight. Well, on their protocol, plus 2 more servings. So if you weigh 100 pounds, it should be 2 servings plus 2 more. So that's getting your protein in from perfect aminos. And then you want to make sure you're getting omega fatty acids and your digest enzymes, 1 to 2 caps with meal. That is something I'll share with you. I really love perfect aminos and just hitting what your macros would be, figuring that out from here, your carbs, protein, and fat. But today we're just focusing on the protein. And then when I'm working one-on-one with people, it's figure out, okay, how much carbohydrates we need based on the type and intensity duration of your exercise. And then your fats to feel full and satiated come naturally with your protein, and then supplement. So when we're hitting these protein goals, we want to make sure 3 to 4 meals is kind of a lot for most of us. So we need to supplement with some essential amino acids as perfect amino or Kion. So another note here, bone broth lacks the branched chain amino acids required for muscle protein synthesis. Check that out. That's what I got from one podcast. I forget which one this was, but bone broth, I always thought was a great backup, but it's good for gut healing with the glycine in it. So I always love bone broth for healing and post injuries. And then there's also protein myths. She talks about no evidence links high protein diets to kidney damage or cancer. Higher protein intake is protective against sarcopenia and promotes metabolic health. So meal timing, higher protein intake, especially on those rest days. Post-workout meals should include 25 grams of protein to optimize recovery. And the goal is to eat enough so you don't need to snack, so you can let your body digest and rest in between meals, reset metabolic pathways. Going M toward AMPK, I think is what that's about. And intermittent fasting, effective when supplemented with a branched chain amino acids, not ideal for everyone, especially if engaging in heavy training while fasted. And I go for essential amino acids, not branched chain amino acids. And then periodic protein restriction, methionine restriction, ketogenic may have beneficial effects. So this is why we want to do one-on-one coaching and figure out what's best for you. These are summaries from different interviews on protein and research articles. So muscle metabolic health. Strong muscle is essential for combating obesity, metabolic diseases, and functional decline with age. Muscle is a predictor of longevity as grip strength. Early sarcopenia starting in your 30s will speed up the more sedentary you are. So inactivity and poor protein intake. So we want to get 30 to 50 grams of protein, quality protein, 3 times a day. Supplement with essential amino acids when you're not getting that through food. Strength training regularly, 2 to 4 times a week to stimulate muscle growth, choosing compound movements, building that base and foundational muscles first, your stabilizers. Include leucine-rich proteins in your diet to support muscle protein synthesis. Avoid prolonged grazing and prioritize structured meals. Train in the morning if fasted to capitalize on hormone and metabolic states. So my favorite quotes, muscle is the organ of longevity. We are not over fat, we are under muscled. Obesity is a symptom, not the root. Heavy skeletal muscle equates to metabolic health. So as we're talking about metabolic health, we're working on how we're aging. My goal in this show is to help us figure out the best way to be fit and healthy from the inside out. Talking about the role of leucine to prevent muscle loss as we get older, and really the role of protein in muscle health and aging, and listening and learning from people as Dr. Lehman and Dr. Gabrielle Lyon really focuses on the role of protein, especially animal protein in muscle health and overall longevity. So again, muscle tissue is central to metabolism, acting as a primary site for glucose disposal. This helps regulate blood sugar. Fatty acid oxidation supports fat metabolism. And this is what I'm looking at when I do PNOE metabolism testing. We are tying this all together and looking at the whole picture. If your metabolism is slower than it should be for your height, weight, age, and gender, we can see that when we test your metabolism and compare it to your age, what I just said, age, gender, height, weight. Now, how do you speed up your metabolism? Focus on muscle, not doing more cardio. It's focusing on muscle health by protein and lifting weights. Fatty acid oxidation support muscle or support fat metabolism. We need to do that's going to be through your cardio training. Now, essential amino acids, animal proteins are much more rich in the essential amino acids over plant-based. Leucine, we want to hit mTOR to trigger muscle protein synthesis. getting that 2.5 grams of leucine to about 30 grams of protein to 50 grams per meal does take a little bit of work, but really you're just focusing on protein, would just be meat. Animal protein is superior in terms of leucine content and bioavailability. Consuming enough protein per meal ensures tissue health and longevity. So, why do women need to do things different? Why 30 grams may not be enough? Number one, declining estrogen impacts muscle metabolism. Estrogen plays a critical role in maintaining muscle health by promoting muscle protein synthesis and reducing muscle breakdown. Lower estrogen levels during postmenopause reduce the body's sensitivity to dietary protein, making it harder to maintain and build muscle. And that's kind of where I am, the start of perimenopause. And I have to really focus on my muscle protein synthesis because I can feel my body composition changing. I am a little squishier than I like to be because of the lack of estrogen. And that's why it's looking at talking to your doctor, someone that's updated in hormone replacement therapy, if that's a direction you want to go. Get a little bit of estrogen, as Karen Martell talks about. You can get her eye cream with estrogen in it, or I was using muesli. So you can look at some other options if you want to ask me to send me a message. Anabolic resistance, number 2. With age, muscles become less responsive to protein intake. We call anabolic resistance. When this resistance happens as we age, with our hormones getting lower, as mine, estrogen levels are dropping down, we require more dietary protein to achieve the same muscle protein synthesis as we once did when we were younger, like 5 years ago, even. So important, you guys. Ladies, eat meat. You need to double up. 1 egg and 6 grams of protein is not going to do it. So you need to supplement. You have to be creative in your meal planning, and we can work on that. Leucine is really important part, as we keep talking about the leucine threshold involved in aging. Leucine is essential amino acid, is the key trigger for activating mTOR pathways and initiating MPS. While the leucine threshold for younger individuals may be around 2.5 per meal, the threshold increases in older adults. When we're eating less, we actually need to eat more protein, less carbs, and really focus on that protein. Postmenopausal women may rise 3 to 4 grams of leucine per meal. Ooh, that's a lot. So, to meet this higher leucine threshold, we may require, this is why I kind of put this together. Why do women need 40 to 50 grams of protein? Because we need that 3 to 4 grams of leucine. Animal-based proteins as whey, eggs, lean meats, rich in leucine, effective at stimulating MPS compared to plant-based. I'm not against plants. I'm just saying you got to be, it's challenging. I tried. So increased protein intake per meal. So shifting from the general 30 grams of protein per meal to 40, 50 grams to ensure you have enough leucine to overcome anabolic resistance. Incorporate foods as grass-fed whey. I like Keon, Ben Greenfield's company. They have a grass-fed whey unflavored, because I'm not big onto having everything chocolate or vanilla or over sweetened things. Keon is not, but you got to read the ingredients, because a lot of shake mixes out there drive me nuts. They have 2 or 3 sweeteners in there. Not good. So getting an unsweetened whey protein grass-fed, as from Keon, Kion, you can use my discount code, Coach Debbie Potts, and I think you get 20% off. Now, getting 1 scoop, you might need 2 scoops in that shake, right? So 1 scoop contains 2.53 grams of leucine. Now we need to do 2 scoops. So ideally we do real food first, because you don't want a lot of powder, but whey protein is a great option to fill in those gaps when we're not getting enough protein. I need to do this more. I'm trying to get back into my body health and Kion essential amino acids because I'm not eating enough food because I get full. And so I just had a big burger patty for my afternoon meal 2. This morning I had cottage cheese with my SIBO yogurt, but I probably won't eat another meal. So I'm short on my protein. So I need to take my essential amino acids, perfect aminos, and if I could do a shake, I don't often want one, but I need to get in that habit because my muscles are important to me. I need them. I don't want to lose them. But this is only half of the equation. You need to combine your protein goals here, doubling up 40, 50 grams 3 times a day with resistance training. And doing 10, 12, 15 repetitions only works when you're starting to build your foundation. Then I want you to go a little heavier and find more functional movements, compound movements, deadlifts, squats. I don't like barbell lifting, so I'm not going to be doing that. My left side is totally different than the right side, so I'm not doing barbell work. I'm doing free weights, kettlebells, but combining resistance training enhances MPS, counteracts age-related muscle loss, increases effectiveness of dietary protein. And again, supplement when needed. As I just said, I'm not meeting the threshold, so I need to supplement. So women my age, we need to adjust our protein intake to counteract this anabolic resistance, loss of estrogen supportive effects of muscle health. Consuming 40 to 50 grams of high quality protein per meal with a leucine content 3 to 4 grams is essential to optimize MPS because we're more anabolic resistance. All right. So I don't know actually if you are taking estrogen, if you still, that'd be good research to do. If you are taking estrogen, how much do you still need double up? So we'd have to research that. Tips on aging females. Here we go. I think we just went over that. Anything else we didn't talk about? Protein evenly throughout the day. Combine protein with resistance training 2 to 4 times a week. I said power speed training at sprints, plyometrics, Olympic lifts to enhance muscle power and speed. Critical for longevity and reducing falls. Focus on proper rest, sleep, active recovery. Supplement with EAAs. You can't take leucine by itself, so I don't know why that's there, but you need to have leucine in with all the essential amino acids. I've read and heard that you can't supplement with leucine. It doesn't work that way. You have to take leucine with all the other aminos. They have to be in their team. Consider working with someone to address your hormone shifts as estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, and being consistent. Being patient, I would say, but being consistent is not going to just happen 1 week and you are like, oh, I don't see results. It's going to take 4, 6, 8 weeks. So take your time. Be consistent. It will pay off over time. Aging women must adapt their nutrition exercise strategies to counteract anabolic resistance and declines of estrogen. By increasing protein and leucine intake, incorporating resistance training, power training, focusing on your recovery, more is not better. We need more recovery. We can maintain muscle strength, power, speed, ensuring longevity and vitality. So with that, I do this metabolism testing, as I always talk about, breath analysis, just dieting, figuring out, just guessing, listening to all these people's social media podcasts as mine. You need a personalized program. So if you want to test and not guess, that is what I do. Come over to Del Mar, Solana Beach area, and we can test. Here's some links, Protein and Health. And you can read more and some links and resistance power training, strength training for women. Stacy Sims' books, of course, are great. Next Level, menopause, muscle health. There's a lot of different articles on that. Supplements, Kion is great. Perfect aminos and listening, wild health. So weird. I put this into Chat GPT and it knows everything I do. It's kind of freaking me out. So recovery and longevity, I use Wild Health Precision Medicine genetic reports, and I was going to pull that up. So listen, learn, then let's kind of figure out, navigate through all this information, what's best for you. So bodyhealth.com, you can use my discount code I'll put the link in the show notes, but you can go up to Perfect Aminos. This is their challenge, but you can have the user guide I've shared before. And really looking at Perfect Aminos, I'm not into sweet, so I'd rather down the capsules, but some people gag when they have capsules. But they have suggestions on here. So ideally, Perfect Aminos take 30 minutes before other fats or proteins or 1 to 2 hours after. 99% utilized. Start with the following amount for your body weight. So say you're 140, 170 pounds, take 2 servings in the morning and 1 before bed. If you're heavier than that, take 2 servings in the morning, 1 to 2 per bed. If you take those amounts, you'll notice positive changes with a few weeks. When taking 2 servings in a day, most effective when taken at the same time, not split up. If you work out daily, another suggestion here, add 1 to 2 servings to the above. So Perfect Aminos before your workout as well as before bed to enhance recovery. You'll get most for recovery taking Perfect Amino before bed. Because remember, your recovery repairs while you're sleeping. It's also been taken 20, 30 minutes before a workout to maximize endurance and prevention of muscle loss, especially during fasted workouts. One would not need to take them after the workout, as aminos will still be in your bloodstream helping recovery, as they'll be in bloodstream for 2 to 3 hours. If you're heavier and you do an intense 1 to 2 hour workout, the Perfect Amino can be a protein source for you, taking 2 servings in the morning, 2 servings before the workout, and 2 servings before bed. So if you're not getting a protein, this is a good option. So I'll put the links in here to Perfect Aminos. I find it very helpful in looking at their chart on how Perfect Aminos, you'll use 99% of it versus whey, collagen piece. You only get 30 grams, converts to 1 serving of Perfect Aminos. Meat, fish, poultry, they say 15 grams of meat, fish, poultry converts to 1 serving of Perfect Aminos. Whole eggs, 10 grams converts to 1 serving Perfect Aminos. But what you're not using gets converted to sugars or fats. So you want to make sure you're getting protein that you're using, as whole eggs are 48% used to build protein. Meat, poultry, fish, whey, soy, nuts, and then branching amino acids 1%. So interesting to think about. If you want to learn more, head to Perfect Aminos. I'll put the link in the show notes. All right, so I will put the links in here. Also, the plant-based, I put down at the bottom, I think this is the one I did, options for shake mixes, Paleo Valley, Equip, Biooptimizers, Kion Aminos, and suggestions from Stacey Sims. Her suggestions on exercising is having pre-strength workouts, 15 to 20 grams of protein. Pre-cardio workouts, you're having 15 to 20 grams protein plus 30 grams of carbs. Post-workout, 30 grams of protein after workout for women. And I'll put this in their notes. So that's kind of what I was working on last year. And then my rabbit hole continues. So I will be available if you have any questions. Head to the website, get some free ebooks, and let me know what your questions are for the next episode on improving how we age so we're stronger, faster, and leaner, right? That's my goal. Happy 2020.